Hey guys, Game Prime here, and today I'm gonna be talking about Sly Cooper because what else would I be talking about? So, this is gonna hopefully just be a little short video. It'll probably end up being a little little lengthy, but Sly's been in the news again recently, and we're all just sitting here waiting, hoping, nothing happening. However, uh, I just kind of figured I'd make a video on it because it's been not going on for a while, but there were two things that happened in the last week alone, and it's kind of just sparked my mind, and I'm like, I need to talk about this and just get my not not feelings, but just my thoughts on everything out there because I don't want to say that there's hope, but I mean, there's always a little bit of hope. Anyway, let's get into it right away. The big thing, well, quote unquote big thing, that happened yesterday as I record this, um, very popular insider, Jeff Grubb. I don't even know if you would want to call him an insider. He's a games journalist, podcaster, there's been some things he's speculated on and rumored and not so leaked, but just talked about, and some of it's been right, some of it's been wrong. He's just a normal game journalist. I listen to his shows from time to time. Really like his takes on the industry and everything, but he came out with a video yesterday talking about Perfect Dark and what was going on with that game, the new one that's being made by the initiative for Xbox that's going to come out in about 10 years when it's done. Um, but he was talking about, if it's going to get shown this year, he thinks it's going to get shown, yada, yada, yada. And he goes into Sony, talking about Sony and Nintendo. And I'm just going to play the audio for you guys, because this is what he said about Sly and what he thinks, they're doing over there at Sucker Punch.
The thing that I'm like kind of pie in the sky about, but it's something that's been rumored elsewhere, and I have started hearing a little bit about it. And this is, hearing about it, but mostly speculation. So if you go write your headlines about this one, that's on you, because I'm washing my hands of it. I'm just saying, I'm hopeful that we would see something from Sucker Punch that is causing Ghost of Tsushima 2 to take a little bit longer than we were expecting. And my hope is something with Sly Cooper. We'll see. Again, not confirmed, nothing like that. But that's speculation. But it's definitely, there's a smoke out there. Maybe where there's smoke, there's fire. Hopefully we'll find out.
Okay, so right there you heard everything that he said about Sly. And most of it, if you can't tell, it's not him saying he knows that there's a Sly game in development. It's not him saying that Sucker Punch is making a Sly game on top of Ghost of Tsushima 2, which pretty much everybody knows is what's going to be their next game. He's saying that he hopes that there's a side team within Sucker Punch that's working on Sly as well. Kind of like how Insomniac Games has multiple teams where they could do, stuff like Ratchet and Spider-Man. Now, let me just clarify here before people jump on me. Yes, Insomniac is a much, much, much bigger studio than Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch right now only has about 120 employees. Insomniac has 2 studios and 450 employees. So they got a lot of people there working on multiple series, and unfortunately with all the leaks that happened for Insomniac last year towards the end of the year, we kind of, know a roadmap of their games. They got their hands full. They need all that team. But I know game development is not what it used to be, and it's a lot more of a process these days. But you could have a small team and still make something fantastic. Like Banjo-Kazooie, when Rare made Banjo-Kazooie, that game only had a very small team of developers. Some of the best games in the last 10 years have only had one or two developers. Like Undertale, Doki Doki Literature Club, I could go on. Small indie games that take forever to make, but they come out and they end up being, cult classics. Now, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but Sucker Punch was even smaller when they made the first 3 Sly games. I don't really have a count, and it was hard to kind of estimate how many people were on the team for at least Sly 2 and Sly 3, but I looked at the credits for both of them, and just under the main Sucker Punch staff, Sly 2 had 27 people, Sly 3 had 42. Obviously, there was a little bit more than that, because you have to take in consideration art, testing, music, even though, they probably outsourced Peter McConnell to do the soundtracks for all of them. And even Sanzara Games for Sly 4 had 60 employees in 2010, so there was only a small team working on the collection and then the pitch for what would eventually be Sly 4. And then probably around that same size team as they worked on Thieves in Time. Now, I feel like even though Jeff has said that these are just his hopes, once again, I will quote him, "My hope is something with Sly. Again, not confirmed, it's just speculation." He did not say that, it's going to be in a showcase that's probably coming up this month or whenever a PlayStation showcase is going to happen, which is probably going to be soon. But, I've seen things before with insiders where they start hearing things, little sprinkles, and years down the road they become true. Stuff doesn't happen overnight, especially with game development series like this. I remember him, I believe it was him, don't quote me on it, but I believe he was the one who said Metroid Prime Remastered was happening months and months and months, maybe even years in advance to it finally getting revealed on a Nintendo Direct last February. So, these things take time. But the point that I'm trying to make is that kind of what he said at the end, when there's smoke, there's fire, and I think we're starting to see a little bit more smoke for Sly, even if it's very, very, small. And hours, I'm guessing hours, I was asleep when all this happened, but hours after Jeff said this about Sly and everything, Kevin Miller came out and he was like, "Yeah, it's not happening." I'll find his tweet in a second, but Jason Scheer, who works for the not the Hollywood Reporter, I believe he works for the Washington Post. I will also find that in a second. I'm doing this whole video off the top of my head. I don't have a script or anything. This is just unfiltered thoughts, so you're gonna get unfiltered unreadiness by me. But Kevin Miller came out and he was, saying that it's not true, which I believe. There's no reason not to believe him. This was his tweet right here. He said, "Not a chance this is real. Sucker Punch is a one-at-a-time studio. A game like Ghost of Tsushima 2 is taking longer than expected because it's a massive undertaking. games take years to make, and only 2 years ago they said they weren't making another Sly, which is something I was about to bring up. They said 2 years ago, when another rumor about Sly came out, they said that there were no plans to make another Sly or Infamous at the time. They loved the series, and they would never shut the door on making another one of either of those. But it wasn't happening at the time, nor were those games being outsourced to other studios like Sly Thieves in Time was. So that kind of shut the door on that. Even though back then I remember hearing rumblings about the team that made Concrete Genie. I forgot their damn name. I could look that up too. But I remember hearing then that that studio was possibly making a Sly game. They shut down, so whatever, if they did work or were working on a Sly game, that ain't happening anymore. So that's that. But yeah, it's just kind of, my head's at the point of there's a little bit of smoke, and I believe what Jeff's saying there. He came out on Twitter to say a few more things about it. He said, the Sly thing is not on me. I said repeatedly that while there are rumors out there, I was hoping and speculating. Nothing was confirmed, and I didn't know. Which, I was just talking about. He didn't say, this is a rumor. Pretty much. He said he's been hearing a little bit, and this is what he would like. Guess what? I'd like it too. Guess what? If you're watching this video, I'm sure you would like Sly to happen as well. Don't want to say Sly 2. We all would like Sly 2. But and then somebody replied to him and he said, I'm allowed to hope for things. Yeah, I've been, look at this fan base. We've been hoping for freaking 11 years now. And before that, we hoped for 8 years. So, we got to keep the hope alive a little bit. And then he tweeted one more time. He said, how I framed it, I've heard about this, but can't confirm it. So I'm just hoping and speculating. I even said that people shouldn't write headlines based on it, because I was just being helpful that these things are true. Well, here I'm making a video about it, but you know what? This is a Sly channel. I'm going to talk about Sly. And if you've been listening to me 13 minutes now rambling about Sly, thank you. Because this is just off the top of my head, and I'm talking about the series I love the most. But there was one more thing that happened last week, too, where it was a 4chan leak. I know, big surprise there. And it said, it was May 4th. It was not this past Saturday, but last Saturday. And it said, PlayStation Big Showcase leak, blah, blah, blah. New event date, May 21st. Announcement, May 14th. Now, if those dates are right, then we might have something here. Because usually when these weird fake leaks come out, they never get the date right. So, just a little bit of hopium to smoke there if it does happen. One of the games here was Sly Cooper, the Shangtian, I can't pronounce that, Shangtian Sapphire, developed by Toys for Bob, XDev, and a small team of Sucker Punch. I think that's fake, obviously. I don't think they're going to outsource Sly again. I think they've successfully done it once with Sanzaru. I think they tried to do it again with the Concrete Genie developers, and whatever happened to that. And this is just me believing, everything from the rumors that came out a couple years ago. Don't know what happened there, but that obviously didn't work. So whatever they had is probably gone. I feel like if there was a team to do it, it would be Sucker Punch. And they might, have their hands doubtful a little bit, but who knows? You know, even though everybody, you know, wants to jump on this and talk about it, the only people who know, you know, what's going on with Sly and if there are, or if there is another game coming out, there's two main key factors that know: Sony and Sucker Punch. And that's it. You know, we can't fully take credit or fully take in what these people are saying, whether it be Jeff Grubb, whether it be Jason Scheer, you know, even though Scheer, I pretty much trust Scheer with everything he reports, because everything he's reported from what I've seen in the past has come true. And I'll read his tweet in a second, but I just don't, you know, nobody knows except those two factors, and that's just kind of where it's gonna lie. We have no idea. We have no idea what their talks are. We have no idea if there was an actual pitch to the Concrete Genie developers a couple years ago. We don't know. We probably won't know unless there's another Sony leak. You know, knock on wood, that doesn't happen, but, you know, somehow we got the original pitch for Thieves in Time a couple years ago, and then the Sly PSP game and all that, so, you know, I'm sure one day, if that game was in development from the Concrete Genie devs, I gotta find their damn studio name. I really have to. Then that's when we'll figure out what happened. I'm gonna find out who made Concrete Genie. Pixelopus, there we go. Yeah. They only made 2 games, and they had an untitled project canceled in collaboration with Sony Pictures Animation. And that was what I thought, and I think a couple people thought could have been Sly, because of them working with Sony Pictures Animation. They could have had a TV show / game, you know, back-to-back kind of thing. I don't really know what happened. Could be anything, but it's a shame that got canceled. Let me read this real quick, because this came out June 3rd, 2021. Pixelopus working on a PS5 game in collaboration with Sony Pictures Animation, developed on Unreal Engine 5. They had a job listing that said, "We are seeking a principal graphics programmer to contribute to our development process as we tackle exciting innovation and rendering opportunities through a collaboration with Sony Pictures Animation." Yeah, that really didn't tell us much, but I kind of want to believe that was Sly, and those Sly rumors back then were true, and it just didn't happen. But yeah, just to wrap everything up, because I've almost been blabbing on for 20 minutes. I think if there's a team to do it, it's going to be from within Sucker Punch. It's almost been 20 years. I know they want to make another one someday. They've said it time and time again. They even answered a question that I asked when I worked at GameStop, and I submitted a question when Ghost of Tsushima was coming out, and I asked them what if there was any inspiration from Sly, or I forgot exactly what I asked them, but they said that it's a series that they would love to return to someday, and they've been saying that since 2007 when Nate Fox did an interview about Sly 4. I remember reading that every day, waiting for an announcement for Sly 4 by them. God, what I would do to go back to those days, because I didn't know that we'd be waiting this long for another one. But yeah, just the way I see it, between that 4chan leak that's faker than a $3 bill and whatever Jeff Grubb was talking about yesterday, which, you know, is pretty much just him hoping, even though he did say he's heard, rumblings. There's you could hear rumblings about anything. I think it is really good news that Sly's just in people's thoughts and they're talking about it now, and that the series is popping up in conversation for rumors and for fake leaks and stuff like this, and the fact that we just got 2 within a week span. Once again, like Jeff said, when there's smoke, we might have something. It's a big grasp, but the more that Sly shows up on these fake leaks, the more, these rumors stir. The one thing it's doing that's positive for the series is it's getting people to talk about it, and that's all that we can do and ask for at this time, because we've done everything else. It's been 11 years. We've done all we could, but if we just keep talking about it, then who knows what's gonna happen. And I'm happy to see this. Did not expect to wake up yesterday to freaking Sly rumors and news flying all around. Everything was going crazy, and it was nice to see for once. Hasn't happened in 3 years. And like I said, just let your voices heard. Let Sony know that you want it. Hopefully we'll see more. There's always going to be fake leaks and stuff for these showcases, but if Sly pops up on more fake leaks, if people do prediction videos and they predict Sly or they want Sly, that's good. That's good news for us, because it shows that there's a want and that there's a demand, and that 11 years later we still want a Sly 5 to wrap up the series. And I can make a whole nother video on this. I want it to be Sly 5. I want them to wrap up the story, and then they could go ahead and remake all the games using, whatever assets they have for the last game. Because if they just start with a remake, we're not going to get a 5 for freaking who knows how long. Because 1 is different from 2 and 3, and 2 and 3 is different from 4. So if you want to just do another collection of those games, perfect. If you want to wait, do 5, then remake them, even better. I want 5. I want something new. I want something fresh. And keep your voices loud and heard. Be nice to everybody in the community. I stay away from talking to a lot of the community in a way, just because I like to stay in my own little bubble. I tweeted this out a couple days ago. I like to stay in my own little bubble, be in my own world, form my opinions, let people know my opinions. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, cool. I don't give a shit. But don't bash each other. We're a small game community. We all want one thing, and that's for Sly to come back. Whether, somebody wants a remake, somebody wants 5, doesn't matter. We all want Sly. That's the point. And with Sly in these conversations, and these fake leaks, and these, big quote-unquote insiders talking about it, I just realized I never read Jason Scheer's tweet. Oh well, you probably got the gist of what I was saying anyway. The fact that he's out there, or that the series is out there and it's still being name dropped, probably more than a lot of other PlayStation series. If there's 2 PlayStation games that I see, or I think have the most demand to come back, it's Bloodborne and Sly. And that's just very 2 different sides of the coin. But at this point, I think Sly is more likely to come back than Bloodborne. But that's aside from the point. But Yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys. Thanks for letting me blab on for 25 minutes about my favorite series. I don't know how I'm going to edit this. I'm actually going to try and put in, the little clips. So I did want to have this out by noon today. That ain't happening. I'll probably edit this later and get it out later tonight. But, yeah. Keep your voices heard. Be nice to each other. It'll happen someday. Who knows? But, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Got a lot of content planned for the future. More Sly, of course. More, random videos. If you like this kind of video, just me blabbing on, let me know. And, subscribe for more. I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers for the first time. And it's gonna happen within the next couple months. And I'm very stoked for it. It's been a long time coming. And got a lot planned and just a lot in my head I want to do. So, thanks for watching, guys. When there's smoke, there might be fire. Who knows? Thanks for watching.